Hello, and thank you for joining. Today's tutorial is going to be Office 365 Excel, and we're going to review the CountA function, CountBlank function, the CountIf function, and also the CountIfs function. What we have here is a list of names, ages, cities, and states, and you'll notice that some of the entries are blank, like this person didn't add their age, this one didn't add their town, this one didn't add their state. So what we want to do here is use the count function to calculate a variety of scenarios, such as how many people left their age blank, how many people left their city blank, and so on. The first thing that I'm going to do is count the number of people who have entered their age. And the way we do that, when we count numbers, we use the count function. By the way, there's two ways to access the count function. You can type equals count, and you'll see it will auto-populate all the options that start with count or have count in the function. Or you can go into formulas, go to more functions, go to statistical, and scroll down and you'll see all the count functions here. For this example, we're just going to type it out. I'm going to go ahead and type count, and I can either hit enter or tab, and we'll bring up the formula. So you can see here, the count function will ask me now for value 1, value 2, and so forth. I could choose individual values. I could select cell B2, comma B3, comma B4, and then so forth. But a more efficient way of doing that is I'm going to back that out, and I'm going to do a range of values. So I'm going to click, if I want to do a range, I can either manually enter it, or I can just click on cell B2 here with my left mouse button, and I can drag all the way down to the bottom, which is row 21, and I can close the parentheses, and you'll see that the formula for the range is this starting cell, colon, ending cell. Okay, so I could have typed that in manually if I wanted to. So I'm going to hit return, and we see that 17 people have entered an age here. So now we're going to do something similar with calculating how many people have provided their city. So we can't use the count function because what the count function is looking for is, you see, it counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. If I do CountA, you'll see what this does. It counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So if you're looking at text, you need to look at the value. You need to use CountA because count will just look at number values. So I'm going to do CountA, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the range. I'm going to highlight cell C2, hold my mouse button down, drag all the way down to the bottom cell, and I'm going to close parentheses, and I'm going to hit return. And you see that is 17. Now I'm going to do the same thing I'm going to use the CountA function for the people that entered the state. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tab, and I'm going to do the range again. I'm going to drag it down to there, and we see that 18 people provided their state value. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to count blanks, right? So you might have scenarios where you just want to count blanks, so where someone didn't put an entry or you're missing an entry or whatever the case may be. And in this case, we're going to use a CountBlank function. Okay, so you'll see if you start typing count, you'll see CountBlank, and it'll count the number of empty cells in a range. I'm going to go ahead and drag that down. I think we said, I think this was for age. We'll go ahead and we'll click and highlight cell B2, drag it down to cell B21, and hit return. And there we see 3 people didn't enter their age. Then we'll do the same exact thing for the city question. How many people left that blank? And then we will do the same thing. We'll click and drag. We'll grab all the cells there in the range, and we come up with an answer of 3. And then we will also do the same thing for the state. So we're going to do count blanks again. And I'm going to click on cell D2, drag it down to cell D21, close the brackets. We see 2 people did not enter that. And now For counting, by the way, so if we go over here and change this, for example, if we delete the age here, we'll see that these will dynamically update. That dropped to 16, that went to 4. I'll go ahead and I'll remove city here, and you see that updated that one to 16. I'll reverse it. So they'll dynamically update based on the current entries. Now we have a scenario where we want to find out how many people are from the state of Georgia that responded to this survey or questionnaire, whatever it is. So we're going to type equals, and this time we're going to do a CountIf. So what that's going to do, it's going to count the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So I'm going to hit tab, and we're going to do a range, and then what's the criteria? So we're going to do a range here, and I'm going to click on cell D2, drag it down to cell D21, and then what I'm going to do, rather than close parentheses, I'm going to hit the comma, and that brings me, you see the criteria is highlighted. I want to see how many people from Georgia. It has to go in quotes, by the way, so I'm going to do a quote there. I'm going to type Georgia and close the quote, and then I'm going to close the parentheses, and now we see that 2 people have responded. 2 respondents are from Georgia. And then what we might want to do is let's count the number of people who are at least 40 years old. So this is a CountIf function to count the people who are from Georgia. This, when we're looking at multiple criteria, we want to do the CountIfs function. So IFS as in plural. So we're going to do equals CountIfs, and we're going to do criteria range 1. So we're going to grab all of their ages. So I'm going to click and highlight cell B2, drag all the way down to the bottom, B21. I'm going to do a criteria. I'm going to do comma, and then I'm on criteria 1. So now that we have the cell range, we're going to go ahead and put in the criteria, and I'm going to do open quotes, and I'm going to do greater than 39. So the number in the age column has to be greater than 39. I'm going to close the quote. And then another thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to do criteria range 2. So just for this example, I'm going to go ahead and highlight cell D2 and go all the way down to Utah. Let's say we want to see everyone over 40 that lives in Georgia. So I'm going to do comma, and now my range now is, just like we did before for the CountIf, we're going to do Georgia. Okay, and I'm going to close the parentheses. And you're going to see that's going to return 1 person. So we see an entry for Georgia there, they're 47. We see another entry for Georgia here, and they left it blank, so it's only going to be 1. If I were to put that number at 55, you'll see it'll pop up to 2. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thanks for joining. And if you're interested in more Excel tutorials and other technical tutorials, please subscribe and have a great day. Thank you.